The word fantastic is defined by Merriam-Webster as meaning excellent. It's used to express that something is really good, even great, like Tony the Tiger says. But this definition no longer holds any meaning in my eyes. When I see the word fantastic, forevermore I will now only think of the scam game company Fantastic, the absolute clowns responsible for the day before. It is a never-ending disaster. The rain won't stop falling, but it won't wash away the tears as players who have expected that this game to be good for over a year find out that they were the victims of a giant fucking scam. So Fantastic HQ posted their official statement today where they said this. They dropped this stinky bombshell. Today we announced the closure of Fantastic Studio. Unfortunately, the day before has failed financially and we lack the funds to continue. All income received is being used to pay off debts to our partners. The game has been out for 4 days and they're already throwing in the towel like, it's over. It's done. We've lost all of our money. It's kaput. And it is an absolutely revolting pile of garbage. But it's only been 4 days. I've never seen a studio give up this quickly. It really just seems like a convenient excuse to close up shop and run away and hide because of all of the shady business they'd been up to over the last year or so. But anyway, we invested all our efforts, resources, and man-hours into development of the day before, which was our first huge game. We really wanted to release new patches to reveal the full potential of the game, but unfortunately we don't have the funding to continue the work. It's important to note that we didn't take any money from the public during the development of the day before. There were no pre-orders or crowdfunding campaigns. We worked tirelessly for 5 years, pouring our blood, sweat, and tears into the game. At the moment, the future of Day Before and Prop Night is unknown, but the servers will remain operational. We apologize if we didn't meet your expectations. We did everything within our power, but unfortunately, we miscalculated our capabilities. Creating games is an incredibly challenging endeavor. We're grateful to everyone who supported us during these difficult years. It's been a fantastic journey over the past 8 years. And then they go through their resume there. So the reason they keep driving home the idea that, hey, we didn't take any money from anyone during the long time of misleading the public into what we were actually working on. We didn't take any money. Thus, we can't possibly be misconstrued as some kind of illegitimate business or a scam. But there's many other ways you scam people besides taking their money directly. Like, you did inadvertently end up taking people's money through false advertisement. You did technically scam them because you advertised an open world MMO game, you advertised so many things that aren't in the actual game you released, and so many players still thought that's what they were going to get with your package. So you did still take their money eventually, even though it wasn't crowdfunded in the beginning. You still ultimately did scam your audience. But anyway, I want to break down the whole situation around this studio as well as the day before, and also there's a little bit more that's going on here besides just the closure of their studio that I'd like to talk about. I'll get into all that in just a moment. First, I want to talk about Opera GX real quick. Big thanks to Opera GX for sponsoring this video. Opera GX is the best browser available, period. I've talked about it many times, but it is the truth. Unlike other browsers, it's not a resource hog, so using Opera is never going to tank your performance or anything like that.
Don't get fucked by your RAM! Keep that shit under control!
Everything is super convenient with Opera because you can just have everything pretty much integrated directly into the browser, like your messaging apps, Discord, Facebook Messenger, Instagram. But there's also just so much you can do with it to customize it to your personal tastes, thanks to GX mods. You can create something entirely unique and original, or you can choose from some mods that already exist on Opera, like the Eric Andre mod.
Customize sounds, wallpaper, colors. Do whatever the fuck you want.
Another fun feature is the GX Corner, which can keep you up to date on upcoming video game release dates as well as the best deals around, so that way you can find the optimal spot to shop for the upcoming game. It's just so many fun features that Opera has. I highly recommend using Opera as your browser from this point forward. You can click the link in the description below to get started, and thanks again to Opera for sponsoring.
Get Opera GX!
Now, I'm just going to break down the basics of this if you haven't followed this story. It's something I've talked about for about a year now, and the game just came out, so it's being talked about again. I also just made a video on it. But the day before was Steam's most wish-listed game. It was a series of trailers that were advertising a product that never actually existed, and the developers, their studio, is called Fantastic. Thus, they're responsible for the most misleading marketing I've ever seen. That would be like me trying to market myself on Tinder as being 6'5". Like, you can't really tell in a lot of the photos, but eventually someone's going to find out that I'm not that tall. And that's exactly what happened with this game. Everything they were showcasing, this open world zombie game, never actually existed. So what happened is, what did release 4 days ago is this fucking mess, this wonky piece of shit that is unplayably bad. And it's clear that they never ever had that product they were showcasing for a year that people were so excited for. Now, I have a working game theory on what exactly led to all of this. I truly think Fantastic as a studio made all of these trailers to generate as much hype as possible to get like an audience hooked on their idea, their concept, to try and sell it to investors to get a lot of investor backing behind it. So they go through this nefarious plot. They do get a ton of people excited for the day before, most wishlisted game on Steam and all that. But maybe no investors ever bid. Maybe they never received any investor backing. So then maybe they felt as though they were pressured at that point. They had their ass held to the fire. They have all of these people demanding a game that they don't have and they don't have the ability to make. And perhaps they were fearful of a potential lawsuit for what they were doing. So then they cobbled together this piece of shit in their colon and poop it out onto Steam 4 days ago, and the rest is history. It's bad. Everyone hates it because it's really, really bad. And now they feel as though they can comfortably wash their hands of this whole chapter of the book and walk away without being in like legal trouble or anything like that. That's what I think happened, because I have no other explanation for why they would make fake trailers for a game that they weren't actively making and never were actively making. It doesn't compute. If this was a Kickstarter thing, then I'd get it. Their whole plan was to scam people by getting a ton of money in this game they weren't making. Like, that happens all the time on Kickstarter. But here, they weren't making money throughout this process of, like, misleading people. So what the fuck was the point? I can't quite figure it out. So this is the best theory I have for it. Now, anyway, that's kind of the whole breakdown in a nutshell. Now, I definitely want to mention that the game is no longer available for purchase anymore, apparently. So everyone who's got the game has a rare gem on their hands, because you can't buy it anymore. They closed the studio and they closed access to the game, which makes sense because how could they keep the game open if the studio's not there? Where the fuck would the money go? It'd just go into like an endless void. But it seems as though the goal for this group of goofballs is now to erase the day before from the internet entirely, to wipe its presence, just poof into the night, vanish, so people could move on and forget, and they could all go to their next big scam project, perhaps, because that seems to be the direction that they're trying to go. And also, it's worth mentioning, when the day before released, they themselves posted this bullet point list of very odd things. This is just a really fishy thing that went up, and it immediately sounded some alarm bells for me. On stream, I even said to one of the players, well, I didn't say it to him. There was a player in my day before lobby who was like, man, I can't wait for the updates to really smooth out this game. I said that that's never happening. I knew this game was never going to be updated. Like I mentioned, this feels as though they put it out because they felt they absolutely had to, and they had no other choice but to produce something tangible. And now that they did, they run away and can pretend it never happened. And this bullet point list is the main thing that made me feel that way. So it's like, to our future player who will dive into the game on December 7th, we made this for you. So like almost a little victory lap, you know, it's a celebration together. We'll continue improving the game and adding content. That didn't age well. It didn't even make it a fucking week before they put her down, took it behind the barn. They then have a bunch of mumbo jumbo to the haters. To a person who didn't believe in us, we made this game for you too. We accept any kind of criticism and don't hold a grudge against you. Before we continue moving forward together, kindly allow us to note a few things. Please forgive us for not doing the best marketing and teasers. We learn something new and improve ourselves every single day. Jesus. you made teasers and marketing for something that never existed. And they also copied quite a bit of things from those as well. Please don't accuse us of scamming. That's not true. We didn't take a penny from anyone. Literally begging people to just stop calling them Scam Game, even though they are Scam Game Studio. Like, this is still a scam. Please don't accuse us of asset flip. That's not true also. Our team worked day and night for 5 years to make our dream game a reality, which is also not true because the actual fucking city map is an asset. They used assets. Like, I don't know why they're just blatantly lying about it. And then please don't underestimate our work. It wasn't easy. We are like you. We worked hard. And we're incredibly happy that our game will finally see the light of day for everyone to explore. Saw the light of day for 4 days. It didn't even make it long enough to learn how to crawl before you gave up on it. Well, it was always the plan to give up on it, clearly. I think that was designed from the beginning. They got a huge influx of cash. I think they had like a peak player count of like 30K. That's a lot of money. Like, that is actually a lot of money that they got up front for this fucking game, this pile of shit. So they did make a pretty penny off it and then bounce. They just said, we're out. The whole thing is so scummy. I think everybody knew this game wasn't going to get any real support from this team. I think all of us were surprised they even put something out to begin with. That was the biggest shocker about any of this, that they actually produced something, even though it was barely functional and absolutely horrid to play. The fact they made something was such a surprising twist. But yeah, everything else besides that is not surprising. Them closing immediately after this comes out, after getting some money from the gamers, that super expected. I didn't think it'd be 4 days. I thought they'd close it after like a month or so of hosing people down and maybe like drip feeding a couple of meaningless updates here and there, perhaps, like maybe. I didn't expect it to be this quick, but yeah. That's kind of the whole story here, and I feel like that's probably where the legend of the day before ends. So yeah, that's about it. See ya.